Hello, welcome back. Tonight I will talk about a book of mine called Asmodeus. It is a grimoire. It is part of a collection of grimoires that I have written, all inspired by the book of King Solomon called Ars Goetia, or the Lesser Key of Solomon. And this is part of a playlist called Asmodeus, where I talk about the book and in general about Asmodeus, because of course Asmodeus is a very interesting character. In some other recordings I talked about the name Asmodeus, the meaning, or the way I perceive it. As I say, my ideas are somehow correlated to the literary work, to the grimoire. As the author, as the writer, at the same time, I have my own ideas now about or what I see or what I know about Asmodeus. There is this element of the color that we discussed as well, which is very important when it comes to Asmodeus, to know his colors, to say, well, his colors is, first of all, purple or dark blue, with, of course, the black. Then we have the shimmer of the light, or of the metallic gold or silver. There is the element of the metal, very much correlated to Asmodeus. At the same time, those elements of the clay, or the dark clay, or something very dark, like a obsidian stone or onyx stone, those very dark elements, in light or in darker weight terms, there's there is nuances too in those elements of Asmodeus, of course, but these are very much representative of him. Of course, one can go even further and understand what color purple means. And of course, when working with the colors, one gets a different feeling about the colors. Many people have different feelings or images or association with the color, or the color itself has a symbolic meaning that one can discuss, which is interesting. The purple has, let's say, it is the color of the plum. It is a very potent, very beautiful color, the violet or the dark blue, or even the light blue, but it's very vibrant, pure blue. And then, of course, with the purple, we have a little bit more red. Now, in the blue, we put red, and then we get the color purple. So, of course, the element of the dark, which creates the nuances and the colors, and the metal, the gold shiny metal or the silver shiny metal, as well, is part of the palette or the colors of Asmodeus. We discussed about the way he looks in other recordings, about the feathers, which of course it is an important symbol. The feathers, the element of the air. Someone say, well, Asmodeus is in a way like a bird, or the element of the flight, or the ability to transform in a bird or appear as a bird. Birds always speak about omen, about messages. There is something very secretive about birds. Birds have or see the world in a very different way than we humans, through different senses, They're able to see things that we are not able or not see. There are, of course, differences as well. But in general, the bird is able to see very well. They have very agile, they are very good eyes. They can see from far away, from distance, So that's part of the element of Asmodeus too, being representative of the element of the bird or the feathers. And as I've said, when it comes to Asmodeus, there is always the arrangement. There is always a beautiful geometrical figure, or it's almost like a painting with many colors put very well together. There is that element of the symbiotic, or the patterns, or the element of the kaleidoscope, which works with colors, with different patterns or different geometrical forms or figures, especially the rhomb or the rectangular, or this element of the pattern. Things are arranged in a specific way, the way we see, of course, his feathers on his costume. We have that element of that beautiful ornamental design of that pattern as well, that moves in the different colors of the purple or of the black, of course, of the white as well. And the book is very beautiful, the Grimoire of Asmodeus. It's a very poetic grimoire, has very beautiful, very strong metaphors. It is written in verses. in a hymn form. It has approximately, I think, 200 pages. And the purple cover we see in this color that I represented him, Asmodeus, what his colors are, of course. Even in a symbolic way to see, one can look at the different aspects of Asmodeus and have a very clear, very specific, or very unique type of understanding. There's that element of observation, of some type of calm. No, they say, well, the scientist has to focus, or the scientist has to be calm to be able to think. It's almost like the idea of the experiment. No, one has to try different ways or different avenues and see what the results are. This is the element of the experiment. And then we have the element of the peak, which is of course connected to the birds as well. And then of course we have the color in the center of the red. The red is the origin color of Asmodeus. It is that from that red transforms into blue, purple and black. No, it creates different nuances. Sometimes we see even the element of the yellow, it's very much connected to very colored birds. They have exactly these very unique colors: green, pink, yellow, orange, blue, sometimes iridescent. It has that element of the glitter. It shines. It moves with the light, or it shines in the light. I find all these aspects very beautiful of Asmodeus, and it helps one to understand the qualities that Asmodeus carries. To say, well, he is a very interesting character in my grimoire. The way he represents himself, the way he talks, I love my grimoire of Asmodeus, and I like so much Asmodeus. Of course, there is a very beautiful relationship in the meaning of a writer that I have with my characters, and the way I came upon their name and their subjects, and how I studied and I tried to understand the different aspects that create Asmodeus. At the same time, I enjoy very much to give my own interpretation of him and say, this is my belief, this is my expertise or my research, that part of the experiment. To say, well, the experiment is not wrong, it's the opposite. The experiment is correct. So it is a very intellectual, very mental type of work as well, writing a book or speaking about Asmodeus. To say, well, the level is intellectual level. There is no other level with Asmodeus. The level is always intellectual. We do have the element of the pink. Of course, when we speak about a violet, a pink is a lighter form of violet. The pink, too, is a very beautiful color that represents Asmodeus very much. That purplish pink, or pink, light pink, or shiny type of pink. And it can be transferred to the other colors, to the blue, to the green. So you say, well, the palette is large, that's very much. At the same time, the thing that represents Asmodeus the most is that part of the clay, of that dark ash, or that element of the obsidian, something very dark, something very opaque, something very powerful. In the book one can read, this I'm more discussing about the book, but the book has, of course, it is a literary work. It's a grimoire book that I have created for Asmodeus. It is very beautiful. I invite you to read it. You have in the description box the link to the book, and as well to the playlist if you want to listen from the beginning, or to listen to other playlist, or see other books that I have written. But I recommend the book of Asmodeus. It's like to everyone, and like my first book. If you're interested to buy, I recommend Asmodeus, of course. I like very much the name. In one recording I talk quite detailed about the name of Asmodeus, the letters, the different numbers or patterns that I was able to see, and have my own take on those aspects, and say, well, the thematic is something from the past and one doesn't know. Of course, there's the element of the imagination too, as I've said, of the experiment. And it is my pleasure, of course, as a writer, to talk to others about my books and what inspired me to write them, or to give some type of knowledge about my books for others to be able to reach them now and read them and say, well, the grimoires are special books, and I have written novels, I have written different type of books, interesting ones, no? I think Asmodeus likes very much the idea of books and the knowledge that books carry at the same time. One has to read books about Asmodeus and teach himself about Asmodeus and learn things about Asmodeus to understand him, no? To have a better understanding or clarity. It does take some research or some type of